Well, let's take you back now to KZN, where the Minister of Human Settlements, Mmamoloko Kubayi, is currently hosting the Executive Director of the UN Habitat.
Okay, the reaction of the neighbors, they did not like the temporary units. They insisted that do permanent housing.
Okay, normal house.
So so now what we are saying is that with the approval of the minister for us to find rented accommodation for the people, we are now able to, don't do that, we're no longer going to build this, we are going straight for permanent housing. So the neighbors appear to be fine with this because that's a compact that they signed to say permanent development. They've been saying that if we build temporary ends up being a very long-term temporary. So they said, we don't trust government that if we put temporary, it will stay for long. So we are going for this.
Cost as well, because we build once.
And
after you build, the resident who are moving in here, they got to pay or to a certain formula, or they're given free, or how? No, what we do with this one, they will get their title deeds. Remember, they're within the PNG.
The income bracket.
Yeah, the income bracket. So we look at the families, especially because our policy says if you are earning below 3,500, you qualify to get a free house. But if you are earning more, then we've got different policies that we cater. Then if you are earning above 3.5, then you fall within what we call social housing bracket, the missing middle that we support as well as government. So majority of these people then, because of, you can see the condition where they're living, and they are mostly domestic workers, they would be the ones that end up as free basic housing that we provide. And then what we do as government as well, we give them, as we give them this, we give them the title, so ownership of that property. Now they'll have to take responsibility. We've got what we call community schemes on boats, which is also within the human settlements. When they stay like this, then we introduce a community scheme. They come and teach them because we want them to take responsibility to look after the property. So they will either agree amongst themselves, they collect whether 50 rands so that they can clean the
management
place.
fee.
Yes, management fee, maintenance fee, looking after. We give that responsibility back to the community so that it doesn't come back to us.
And how to make sure there is not housing market emerging from this scheme?
Pardon?
Those reselling, allocate and reselling.
Look, our policy says you can't sell until it's 8 years.
8 years, okay.
So once you sell, before that, it's an illegal activity. So whoever buys as well, we have a right to come back. If we find back, we go and take. And even when they sell, if they decide to sell, we have the right, the first right of refusal. Yes.
This is the representatives of the beneficiaries. They also signed the social compact. They are currently in a TEA waiting for their housing to be completed. Because where they stay is not far from here, we were saying that even during the construction, they will then be participating in this development to do their own projects as much as possible.
And they must help us for no inflation.
Tua, how are you feeling?
Say something.
I couldn't say we're feeling good because I got a lot of problems, but now if this project is coming up, we can be happy.
Will you be moving into that unit with your family?
Yes, I can move it with my family because where I'm staying now, I'm not staying with my family. I'm separate. Now I need to stay with my family. Thanks.
Well, that was one of the flood victims from the April floods, just talking about how excited he is about moving into the unit. It's going to be a permanent structure, as you heard the minister speaking there, saying that they initially were going to set up a TRU, temporary structure, but they have been in talks with the Ratepayers Association, and they've decided and come to an agreement that it's best that these 47 families are moved into a permanent structure. They are a part of the community. They will remain remain in the community, and therefore affording them a better, building, not smaller units that were initially planned, but a building that's going to be able to house 47 families, and also saying that they're going to start off with the 47 families and then possibly also expand on that. There are several more families that are still living on that river line, that flood line, that desperately need accommodation. Some of them do not want to move there because, as I said earlier on, their loved ones were washed away, and they are still very much a part of trying to, come to terms with what have happened in April, but also, culturally, just believing that you cannot leave a loved one behind. An 8-year-old boy was washed away. We happened to speak to the family earlier on, and they said they're not going to move. This is where they lost their loved one. They want to remain in this community, and hopefully we will see more units much like these being erected, and those community members can also move into a permanent structure. I'll leave it there and hand it back to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Jayed Paulse, there coming to us live from Reservoir Hills. Of course, that delegation that you are currently seeing on screen is, of course, the Minister of Human Settlements, Mmamoloko Kubayi. She's currently hosting the Executive Director of UN Habitat, and of course they are on an official visit to South Africa, showing them around, visiting particularly those hard-hit areas, that were affected during the April floods. And of course, as Jayed has said, they're currently at the site where 47 families will be moving into permanent houses in about 6 months' time. Of course, this is happening 6 months after those floods, and of course these houses are a permanent solution for those that have been left destitute. And more houses will then be accommodated as time goes. The minister, of course, saying that, they have taken some time to build these houses. They concede to that, but they needed to ensure that, of course, people are left in permanent structures that were, adequately suited for them. So, of course, the floods in the area, as Jayed was giving us those numbers, more than 480 people were killed during, those floods. And as she said, some are still missing. An 8-year-old boy in that area still has not been, his body has not been recovered. 4,000 homes completely destroyed, and about 40,000 other homes, other people displaced.
The best practices in South Africa to be shared with other countries using the UN Habitat global platform like World Urban Forum, UN Habitat assemblies and all that. So I really hope that this collaboration will really improve the quality of the life of people. I'm very happy to see the smile when you ask the person who involved. He said, "What do you think?" As I told the minister, you see people smile is already is something that you're happy with. So I hope that we will continue working, and we will come up with a very concrete proposal and concrete impact, especially the positive impact for the people on the ground. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Minister, could we have some words from you as well?
Okay. No, thank you very much. I want to thank the Executive Director, Ms. Mmamoloko Mohd Sharif, for, together with the delegation, for gracing us as South Africa. I always say, as a country, we always have to appreciate, because we don't deserve it. We must be honored that when we engaged, we requested her to come. When we spoke about the launch of the Global Action Plan, and we said we will host it in South Africa. This was around April, actually, when I was in Poland. And we agreed that we'll do it. And here we are today on her mission, seeing what we are doing. We're sharing experiences, both the good, the bad, and everything else, so that we can be able to learn from each other. We are appreciating as well the cities that are involved, because part of the work that we do, we can't build human settlements, we do it within the cities, we do with communities, and our work partnership with civil society is quite important. Communities being part at the center of what we do. So we're really excited, because there's quite a lot that we're showcasing, we are learning, but also what we are seeing, and also even ourselves reflecting. You'd understand that eThekwini has been affected by the disasters over time. We took long to respond, I must admit, and I always say, even when I went to cabinet to request an alternative compared to the TRUs, when, as Mr. Bengu was saying, we just got the approvals last week, and I was saying this has been a huge lesson for us. One, in terms of building capacity, even within human settlement, to be able to respond timeously, but also putting systems that are able to respond adequately in time, because we don't want to respond to disasters like we build in normally the houses. But again, you'd see with the plans that are here that we just don't build, we build with dignity, we're giving people dignity. We're building for communities to feel safe. We're thinking about the children, and that's what human settlements is about. Hence, we are no longer a department of housing. We are about human settlements, where they stay resilience in terms of the communities, but helping the cities as well to be able to build better. So the collaboration between national, the province, and local municipality, that's why, and also civil society and the communities themselves, it shows that when we work together, we'll be able to achieve better results. So I'm quite excited as part of what we are here, as showcasing what we are doing, but also the eradication, because major part of us, urban areas and cities, the major challenge going forward that we've got to be able to accommodate, or not even, it's not a challenge, it's something that we must learn to live with. It's issues of urbanization. Migration of people from rural areas into urban areas, it's going to happen. So it's how we respond to it, but respond in the manner that, as Iti was saying, transformative, and also ensures that it does take the needs of the people and to put it in the center, especially women and children.
Minister, if I may, earlier the executive director said, we mustn't work in silos as government. Have you found any challenges within this from the national perspective to our local municipalities? What challenges do you have? No,
for us in human settlements, I think we are quite fortunate, I must say. For example, when we even had disasters, we set up a war room. Like they meet every Monday, virtually, and at times I join. I just send them on Sunday, send me the link, I'm joining for Monday, and I join. I find the 3 spheres of government. Obviously relationships are never perfect, but it has not been a problem in terms of us working, and it's one of the models that we're utilizing. The DDM model helps us to work together, so we get in there. That's why we have DM here, who's the champion of eThekwini. So you can see we're starting to implement the district development model in terms of our work and in terms of our operation. So that's why I was saying even to the team, we need to document how we've been able to deal, especially with the disasters in eThekwini. Because others, yes, within KZN, we did have disasters outside the municipality, but the major impact were within the city. And if you can document what were the lessons, then it will help even for others not to repeat the same thing, because you do have recurrence of the issues. We were just talking with one of my advisors earlier on, and that we were looking that we are warned that they're likely, because the rain has delayed, we're likely to have more floods. And I was saying I need to start gearing my team to start preparing for this, because it becomes something that is going to be normal for us.
Minister, we see now that this idea of emergency accommodation.
All right, Human Settlement Minister there, Mmamoloko Kubayi, just briefing media following that oversight visit in Reservoir Hills and also parts of KZN where they were hard hit by those floods. 47 families will now be moving into new homes very soon. Of course, they were some of the homes were devastated and destroyed in those floods.